dear students. I am Dr. Shikha Pandey, Associate Professor from Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. Today we are going to discuss about the definition and terminology related with the subject with the topic natural resources. In the previous lecture, I have also discussed some of the definition and terminology, but now again we'll have to discuss some more definition and terminology that is associated with the natural resource subject module. So first of all, previously we have discussed it till the mineral resources, water resources, and the natural resources. How many types of resources there? What are the different type of resources, and what basis we can categorize the resources? But now comes to the next topic, that is about the land resource. Land resource. First of all, the definition of a land resource. What is land resource? How can a person will define this thing, the land resource? So, land is a very major part in the lithosphere. Lithosphere, we already knows that lithosphere means litho is equal to soil. Means it is a segment. Means the segment of soil is called as lithosphere. So, on the lithosphere, land is the major part, is the main part. So, land is made up of basically soil and rocks and is considered as very important resource of the earth. And it will play a very major role in the growth of crop, vegetation, and forest. So, land resource is altogether all the soils that is available in the lithosphere is called as land resource, and it is considered as a very important resource of the earth because it will play a role in the growth of crop, vegetation, forests, etc. So this is etc. This is land resource is the resource that is present in the lithosphere. Lithosphere, we already know that litho means soil and sphere is a segment. Means though the segment of soil is called as lithosphere. So the land that is present on the in a major part of lithosphere is called as land resource. Land resource is a very important resource for a human being life because of it will help in the growing of crops, vegetation. It will provide forest shelter to the every living organism. That's why that resource is called as land resource. Land is also a very important resource for the survival of a human being, for the survival of every living organism on this earth. And next question terminology is about land degradation. So again comes as we have already discussed that land is a very important natural resource because every life that is related on this earth is very much associated with the land because they will do survival on the land and it will provided by the forest, the crops. That land will provide us the forest, crops, vegetation, and shelter to many organisms. That's why that land resource is very much important. Next point is about the degradation of land. Means the change in the land, any changes that is undesirable and that will reduce its quality and productivity is called as land degradation. Means any changes that will happen in a land, means any undesirable change, means that change that will be not desirable, that will be reducing the quality and productivity of land. Productivity of land is called as land degradation. Means any changes in the which is undesirable or which will causes deteriorate in the quality of land and the productivity of land is called as land degradation. And this the reason behind this land degradation is the pollution. Pollution is the main factor behind this land degradation because industrial pollution, that is industrial water effluent, that is or some solid waste will generated from the industry. They will openly dump on the lands. Due to the dumping of solid waste on the land, some important heavy metals that is already present in that solid waste will leach out or will enter into the soils, and sometimes it will be degraded the quality of land. So that is called as the degradation of land. Means what will happen, some industry, just like that for thermal power plant, they will sometime do open dumping of their fly ash into a land area. So after the dumping of this fly ash into the open land, some heavy metals are present in the fly ash. That heavy metal will enter into the soil enter into the soil, that will reduce the productivity of quality of that particular land. That's why this term is called as land degradation. Land degradation is due to pollution. Land degradation is a very important issue regarding these days, because land is a very important natural resource that is very much important for the survival of a human being or any organism, because land will provide a whole lithosphere in our atmosphere. Whole lithosphere segment is about the land only. That's why this land is a very important resource, and the degradation of land in today's world is very common, and it is all due to something or dumping of solid waste, sometimes discharging of effluents directly on the land. So that what will they will do? They will deteriorate the quality and productivity of that particular land. That's why this land degradation is there. Next definition regarding it is what is desertification. What will happen? Desertification is again a type of land degradation in which relatively dry area of land become increasingly arid, typically losing its bodies of water as well as vegetation and wildlife. What will happen? Normally, if we'll understand that this term desertification is all related with the land degradation. Land degradation means the deterioration in the quality of land, deterioration at that much level that land will become a very dry condition, and that will be increasing aridity of soil, and that's why it will lose all bodies, all living organisms surviving on this land, and in this way it will be converted into a desert land. Desertification, as the name says that desert is there, desert word is there. Desertification means the conversion of any productive land into a desert. This is a very bad condition for a land. Means a fertile land is there, and its conversion into a desert condition. This is a kind of land degradation. It will be happen by some pollution or by the habitat destruction, because habitat destruction will also causing a very important role in the land degradation. So what will happen? Desertification is that type of land degradation in which some relatively dry area of land will become increasingly arid, typically losing its bodies of water as well as vegetation of wildlife. So this is about the desertification of land. Desertification of land is also an example of land degradation. What will happen? Good fertile land will going to convert into a desert area. That is called as desertification. And what will happen? Automatically that condition will become like a very dry area will become, and land become increasingly arid, typically losing its bodies of water as well as vegetation and wildlife. This is called as desertification. Now comes to the next point that is related with this topic is what is sustainable land management. Sustainable land management, again the word is coming with this sustainable word is there. As we already know, sustainable means the sustainable word is coming if any place, and we know the definition of sustainable, that the consuming the use of present natural resources without compromising the need of future generation is called as sustainable. Sustainable is a word that is associated with everywhere. So that next term is related with the sustainable land management. Is the use of land to meet changing human needs while ensuring long-term socio-economic and ecological function of the land. What will happen? Understand the term like sustainable land management is the use of land to meet changing human agriculture needs while ensuring long-term socio-economic and ecological function of the land. So what sustainable land management means to fulfill the needs of present generation without compromising the need of future generation. So don't over exploit the land resources, or don't overuse the land resources, and don't degrade the quality of land. Means do the agriculture for the agriculture activity, for the forestry activities, for the conservation activity, whatever activity is using in today's world, it should be in a sustainable manner. Like it doesn't exploit the condition of the land, it will not degrade the quality of land, or it will not going to affect or produce or degrade the quality of soil, the soil fertility. So that we can say that this will be a sustainable land management. Means today's we are using the land for our agriculture practices, forestry practices, whatever it is there. But it will not going to exploit, or it will not going to harm the quality of land, or it will not going to degrade the quality of lands. That is called as sustainable land management. We have to ensure that the long-term socio-economic and ecological function of land has been restored. Means in this way you are using the land, that it should be restored for the future generation also. It will be not lose its productivity, it will be not become barren land, it will be land degradation will not be also like that of extent that it will be not be able to use by your future generation. So that use of land in this way, that it can be used for the present generation as well as future generation. This is called as sustainable land management. Next definition related with this topic is the sustainable acid mine drainage. What is acid mine drainage? Acid mine drainage is again related with the land. What will happen? It is a formation and movement of highly acidic water, means acidic water that will rich in toxic heavy metals, and this acidic water forms through a chemical reaction of surface water and shallow subsurface water with rocks that contain sulfur bearing mineral that will result into the sulfuric acid. Acid mine drainage means what will happen? Acid will enter into the mines. And what this acid H2SO4, what will acid mine drainage is basically the formation and movement of highly acidic water with the movement with a combination of some acidic water with a combination plus some toxic metal that will enter into the land, and this acidic water forms the chemical reaction of surface water. This acid water, after entering into the water chemical, it will goes through some chemical reaction with the surface water, and some subshallow surface water is also there, and the sulfur is also already present in the rocks. So that H2 is there, H2O is there, H2 is there, sulfur is there in rock. So all these will make, and in the presence of acid, all these will make, and that will result in sulfuric acid. And sulfuric acid is a highly concentrated acid that will be very much harmful for the quality of land, and it will be sometimes enter into the groundwater also. This is about the acid mine drainage. Acid mine drainage is nothing but the formation and movement of highly acidic water in combination with the heavy metals, and this acidic water forms through the chemical reactions of surface water and shallow subsurface water with rocks that contain sulfur bearing minerals, resulting into the formation of sulfuric acid. This is called as acid mine drainage. Means the water movement, acidic water in all together with the heavy metals enters into the subsurface and shallow surface where the rocks are present, and rocks are already containing some sulfur bearing minerals are there. That mineral will have composition of sulfur, so that H2O will mix up with the sulfur, and then it will be forming the H2SO4. H2O already there, plus sulfur is there. So H2SO4 formation is there inside the drainage area, that is called as acid mine drainage. This is called as acid mine drainage, and it is a very important, very big issue in today's world, because in the mining area, mostly in the mining area, this kind of problem will happen. In the mines, already some toxic metal and heavy metals entering into the groundwater, and when they will enters into the rock bed is there, and from the rock bed they will do the reaction with the sulfurs that is already present in the rocks, and they will form H2SO4, and H2SO4 is a very highly concentrated and dangerous acid. Next terminology related with this topic is define the term deforestation. Deforestation, as the name says, that it is the clearance of forest or the removal of forest or the stands of tree from land that is converted to a non-forest use. Means removal of forest or clearance of forest from a forest area, and it's that land will be used for a non-forest purpose, that is called as deforestation. Means one thing you should keep in mind, not general cutting is the deforestation. Deforestation is the clearance of forest for non-forest use for that land. For non-forest use is called as deforestation. Means what will happen, deforestation or forest clearance is the removal of a forest or stands of tree from the land that is then converted to a non-forest purpose is called as deforestation. Deforestation means the clearance of trees, the clearance of forest for its purpose of the use of the land to a non-forest purpose is called as deforestation. Now comes to the next topic, that is about the define the alternative sources of energy. So what will happen? Alternative sources of energy means some alternate source of energy. The energy is generated in way that are less harmful to the environment because they are not as dependent on finite natural resource like fossil fuels such as oil, coal or natural. Coal, wind, biomass, geothermal and hydroelectric energies are the alternative sources of energy. Alternative sources of energy are those sources of energy that will be less harmful or environment friendly and that will be available in a plenty of times. So this is called as alternative sources of energy because they basically those in harnessing energy from alternative energy sources is not dependent on the traditional sources of energy. Means it will not involve the natural, already the ancient sources of energy is called as alternative source of energy. An example is the wind, biomass, geothermal and hydroelectric. All renewable sources of energy are alternative source of energy. Means alternative source of energy is a very important top point in today's world because we have to find some alternative sources of energy. That doesn't mean that always alternative sources of energy is a renewable sources of energy. Means only what we have to do, we have to shift from our traditional energy use to some alternative kind of energy use that will be efficient, that should be pollution free, that should be sustainable purpose for every purpose. We have to find some different way, some alternative way to use energy. That's why this term is there. And one more point that is related with this alternative source of energy is that alternative source of energy is not always our renewable sources of energy. Sometimes it will be non-renewable source of energy. Only thing that is related with the alternative source of energy, that those source of energy that will be available in the finite amount, that will be pollution free and that will be less harmful to the environment. That's why this alternative source of energy. Now comes to the next definition that is related with the mineral, that is define the term ore. What is ore? From ore we'll get minerals. So ore is a natural rock or sediment of rock that will contain some valuable minerals and typically contains metals that can be mined, treated and sold at a profit. What will happen? Ore are the natural rocks. Ores are the natural rock. Ore are the natural rock that will contain some metal, some valuable minerals and typical, and this can be after mining and treatment, that metal we can extract from the ore. This is called as ore. Ore is a nothing but it is a natural rock that is already present within the earth surface. Means those natural rock that is present within the earth surface that are containing some useful minerals and metals, and by the process of extracting and smelting of mineral we'll extract that minerals from the ore is called as this is the basic definition of the ore. Means then after extracting that minerals from the ore we can sold it to as a profit. So this is about the term ore. Next term is the what is smelting of mineral. Smelting is a form of extractive metallurgy to produce a metal from its ore. Smelting is a term that has been used to extract metal from the ore, and smelting involves the use of heat and chemical reducing agents to decompose the ore, driving off other elements as gases or slag and leaving just the metal behind. What will happen at a very high temperature? At a very high temperature or very high pressure, some element or gases or slags has been used, and that will be extracting the metal from the ore, and that will be leave behind the slags and just the metal behind this thing. This is about the smelting of mineral. Smelting of mineral is nothing but it is the extracting of minerals from the ore is called as smelting of mineral, and it will be used some heats and chemically reducing agent to decompose the ore. Means heat is using and some chemical is using that will be decompose the ore and driving off other elements as gases or slags, and that will be just leave behind the metals behind this. So this is about the smelting of minerals and the basic terminology of ore. Ore is nothing but a natural rocks that will contain some valuable metals that will, and by the process of smelting of mineral, we will extract the minerals from that particular ore, and then leftover is already there, and we can use that mineral for the profit purpose. Now comes to the next definition, that is about what is OTEC. OTEC, Ocean Thermal Energy Conservation. OTEC. Sometimes this full form is also asked, means what does it mean by Ocean Thermal Energy Conservation? Ocean thermal is a marine renewable energy technology that will harness the solar energy absorbed by the ocean to generate electricity. Ocean thermal energy conservation is a marine renewable energy technology, means marine renewable energy technology means that energy will utilize from the sea water. That's why this ocean thermal, which will be, this energy will obtain from the ocean by some thermal and electrical energy conservation. That's why this term is there. What will happen, OTC is a marine renewable energy technology that harness the solar energy absorbed by the ocean to generate electricity. Means the already that will be helpful in the harnessing the solar energy that will be absorbed by the ocean to generate the electricity, that is already absorbed by the oceans to generate the electricity. This is called as OTEC. And then next point is a define salinity energy. Salinity is the salinity gradient is the saline. As we know that ocean is saline in nature, so the salinity is used for the energy purpose. This is all are the example of alternative source of energy. Salinity of energy is, what does it mean? Salinity is the gradient power, is the energy created from the differences in the salt concentration between two fluid, commonly fresh water and salt water. When a river flows into the sea, salinity energy is those energy we can utilize it as a saline water. What will happen when the river will flow into the sea? At that place, two kind of water is there, two kind of water quality is there. First one is the saline water, second one is the fresh water. So the concentration between these two fluid, there is a difference in salt concentration between two fluid. Means what will happen when the river will meet with the ocean? There are two type of water fluid is there. First one is the saline water and then fresh water. Saline water and fresh water. So this saline water and fresh water, some differences is there in the concentration of salt. So that with that differences, that concentration will be used for the production of energy for the electricity generation, is called as salinity energy. It is the gradient power, is the energy created from the differences in the salt concentration between two fluid, and it is happen when water flows into the sea at that place, and that energy is very good energy, and has a very high enormous potential in today's world, because India is having a very large aquatic system. Big oceans are there, many rivers are there. So when the river will goes into the ocean, at that point, at that junction, two kind of fluid is there. One is freshwater fluid, second is the saline fluid. So the differences in the concentration of the two fluids, salt concentration of the two fluid, can be used as a production of energy. This is called as saline energy, and it's an example we already know, when a river flows into the sea. Next term is related with the what is geothermal energy. Geothermal energy. Geo means earth, as the name suggests that geo means earth and thermal means heat. Thermal is equal to heat. So the geothermal energy is the heat energy that is present within the earth. Means the heat that is present within the earth is called as geothermal energy. So that with the utilization of that heat, energy production is there. That kind of energy production is called as geothermal energy production. Geothermal energy is the heat within the earth, and geothermal energy is a renewable source because heat is continuously producing inside the sun, inside the earth. Inside the earth, too much heat is there, very high heat is there, because magma is there, lava is there, all are having very high temperature. So utilizing this heat for the production of energy is called as geothermal energy, and that will come under the category of renewable source of energy, because it is continuously producing inside the earth's surface. So this is about the geothermal energy. As we already discussed, that like geo is equal to earth, thermal is equal to heat, means those heat that is present beneath the earth's surface for the utilization of energy is called as geothermal energy. And this geothermal energy is the renewable source of energy, and it is, we can say that this should be an alternative source of energy, because there is a very great potential in terms of this geothermal energy, because earth, within the earth surface, very much heat is there, too much heat is there due to the presence of some lava and crust is there, some lava and many high molten lava is there, and that heat is very much high. So the by utilizing this heat, we can produce electricity, and India is having a very great future in this geothermal energy, because this alternative energy, utilization of energy from the alternative sources, is a need of present generation, because we have too much dependent on the traditional sources of energy. Now comes to the next thing, and India is having a one important example for geothermal energy is the Puga Valley in Ladakh. There is a very high, and they have harnessed this geothermal energy in that places, and there it is very important to adapt all this kind of energy in today's era, because if we'll go into the shifting toward this alternative source of energy, then our traditional form of energy will be saved, and that will be very much harmful, that is will not environment friendly. So if we'll shift toward this alternative source, that will be environmental friendly also, and that is renewable sources of also, and that leads to the sustainability of energy uses. That's why this terms is there, and India is having a very great future in terms of geothermal energy, or whatever you will say, and in any alternative source of energy, because India is having a very temperature variation. India is having a very enormous sources of this geothermal energy. Puga Valley is there in Ladakh, where they are harnessing this geothermal energy, but that is a very less percentage. So it is very important to shift toward this kind of sources of energy. Now, next definition related with this is the defined tidal energy. Tidal energy or tidal power is the harnessing of energy by converting the tides energy into useful form of power, mainly electricity, using various some method is there. Tidal energy is the utilization of energy or power of the sea waves for the utilization of energy for the conversion of electricity. Means tidal energy is nothing but the sea wave is there, so if we'll use this sea wave for the conversion of sea wave into the conversion of electricity into the by the various method is there, that is called as tidal energy. And tides is having a very high power to get electricity, because on sometime days tide is very high, mostly it is very high, and in very less days it is on a low tide is there. So sometimes high tide is there, then will produce more energy, and some useful electricity, and some power is tide mill is there, and that tide mill will convert tide energy into the various methods, mainly using for the electricity purpose. And what is tidal mill? Next is about the what is tidal mill. Tidal mill is the system that convert energy from tides into mechanical energy to do work. Means what tidal mill is there. Tidal mill is there to convert tidal energy into the electricity. Tidal energy into the electricity to electricity. This is about tidal energy. Tidal energy is there, means tidal power or tidal energy is harnessed by converting energy from tides into useful form of power, mainly electricity, using various methods. And that tidal mill is there. Tidal mill is harnessed on the seas, that will convert mechanical energy to do work. Means that will a conversion of mechanical energy into the electrical energy, mechanical energy into the electrical energy. This is tidal mill. Tidal mill is installed on the tides, and that will able to convert that energy of tides into the electricity, that mechanical power of tide into the electricity. So this tidal mill will do the conversion of mechanical energy to do our work. Next topic is related with the what is the wave energy. Wave energy is nothing but it is a kinetic energy that results from the ocean oscillation of water or waves in the ocean. It is a kinetic energy, means wave energy is there, means solid wave, tidal wave is there. Wave is there. Wave is results from the oscillation of water. Wave results from the oscillation of water, and that is a kinetic energy. It is the wave energy is the kinetic energy that results from the oscillation of waves in the ocean, is called as wave energy. Wave energy is the kinetic energy that will be generated by the oscillation of waves in the ocean, and that kinetic energy is converted into the electrical energy or electrical energy for the daily household works. This is called as wave energy. Wave energy is the kinetic energy that is producing by the oscillation of wave, is called as wave energy. Now comes to the next point is about the hydroelectricity. Means what is hydroelectricity? As the word means, hydro is equal to water. So the use of water for the electricity generation is called as hydroelectricity. Basic term, basic meaning about this hydroelectricity is that the use of water for the electrical energy is called as hydroelectricity. Hydroelectricity is basically electrical energy that has been generated using natural forces such as gravity or flowing water. It is usually produced by dams because dams can store and direct large volume of water. Hydroelectricity is the electrical energy, that we are generated by some natural forces like gravity or flowing water, that will obtained by some natural forces like the earth gravitational force or some flowing water. What will happen? Water, if we will water will fall from high heights to the below the height, that will be obviously by the gravitational force. Water will be coming down, and that force of water we can utilize it in the electricity generation. Because in from a very height, if water will fall into the ground, some force will be create, and that potential will be useful and will be used for the production of energy generation. It will be basically happen in the dams that can store and direct a large volume of water. What will happen in the dam? Very large volume of water will be coming out from a height, and that can store and that can be placed a very large volume of water, and that's why this is called as hydroelectricity. Means electricity generation by the use of by the use of water, and that is by the some natural agents is there, and natural agent is the like gravitational force or flowing water. Due to gravitational force, water will move into the below direction towards the earth, and in very high force, in a way, from a very height, water it comes down the earth, and that height, that energy, we can utilize this energy for the electricity generation purpose. This is, we can say that hydroelectricity is also a alternative source of energy. Means we have to shift toward this hydroelectricity, and hydroelectricity is also a very good future in India, and already this hydroelectricity is implanted in many area in India, because where anywhere dams is there, in a big dams like Bhakra Nangal dams, this hydroelectricity plant is harnessed to obtain energy from the water. Next is about define harvesting of energy. So the harvesting means collection, using of energy is known as harvesting of energy. The process of collection, first of all, collection, then it's a conversion into its electricity form, and then use of that energy is called harvesting of energy. And this harvesting of energy terms will be available in every case of wind energy, hydroelectric energy, solar energy, everywhere. Means first point is the collection, then converting it into the electrical energy, then its use is called as harvesting of energy. Means harvesting of energy from any means, harvesting of energy from water. Like if we'll talk about the hydroelectricity, what we'll do, we'll collect the water, then we'll convert the water into the electricity generation, and then we'll use that energy for our work, is called as harvesting of energy. Next is about the what is biomass energy. Biomass energy can be defined as fuel that is derived from any organic renewable material that can be used in either raw or processed form. Means organic or renewable material is used. If any organic or renewable material is used, is called as biomass. Organic means example is a corn. Corn is used in the bagasse and sugar cane. All are the example of this biomass energy. Biomass energy, sometimes firewood is also example of this biomass energy. It is defined as the fuel that is derived from any organic renewable materials. These are the end of, by using all these things we can obtain some fuel, because by the use of sugar cane we'll obtain some fuel, and by firewoods, by all these methods some chemical method is there, and due to some we'll use pyrolysis method or we'll use fermentation method, and by all method we will harness energy and derived from any organic renewable material that can be used in either raw or processed form. This is called as biomass energy, biomass form of energy. It can be defined as a fuel that is derived from any organic renewable materials that can be used in either raw or processed form, is called as biomass energy. Next is, what is fermentation? Fermentation is a process that is involved in this biomass energy. Fermentation is a process, pyrolysis is the process. So what will happen in fermentation? Fermentation is a metabolic process that will produce chemical changes in organic substance through the action of enzymes. Means many enzymes is there, and that enzyme will action, and then they will convert organic product into, by some metabolic activity, into a fuel by the activity of many enzymes. Next thing is that define the term pyrolysis. Pyrolysis is the process of thermal decomposition of material at elevated temperature on inert atmosphere. Means in a blank atmosphere, in a vacuum atmosphere, there is a process of thermal decomposition. Means at a very high temperature, a thing is burned to get energy from this thing, is called as a process of pyrolysis. Pyrolysis is nothing, its general meaning is that heating any substance at a very high temperature is called as pyrolysis, and it is a material at elevated temperature in an inert atmosphere. Anaerobic, next definition is related with the anaerobic digestion. Anaerobic digestion is the sequence of processes by which microorganisms break down biodegradable material into the absence of oxygen. Anaerobic digestion will take place inside a biogas plant. What will happen in the absence of oxygen? In the microorganism will break down the biodegradable material present in that organic compounds that will decompose the biodegradable material in the absence of oxygen, is called as anaerobic digestion. It is the sequence of processes by which microorganisms break down biodegradable material in the absence of oxygen, is called as anaerobic digestion. Now comes to the next point, which is about the what is natural gas. Natural gas is a mixture of gases which are rich in hydrocarbons. Hydrocarbons is there, HC is there, and these gases are methane, nitrogen and CO2. These are the gases that is rich in hydrocarbons and that are naturally found in atmosphere. Natural gas reserves are deep inside the earth near other solids and liquid hydrocarbon beds like coal and crude oil. This is a naturally occurring gases that is already present on the earth, and its main composition is the hydrocarbon. An example of natural gas is the methane, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, and natural gas are deep inside the earth near other solid and liquid hydrocarbon beds like coal and crude oil is there. Next is what is biofuels. So that fuels that is obtained by the fermentation of biomass, and example of biomass is the ethanol and methanol. Ethanol will be produced from the sugarcane by the process of fermentation of sugarcane. Next is a methanol that is again obtained from the ethanol. These are the fermentation of biomass. These fuels will obtained by the fermentation of biomass. Next topic is related with this is what is biodiesel. The diesel fuel that is produced from a biomass, and biodiesel cannot be used in a standard engine. It will have to do some modification and it will be corrode the rubbers and seals and gaskets. and it also has a long gelling power that petrodiesel, making it unsuitable for use in colder climate. Biodiesel is often blended with the petrodiesel. Means general thing is that biodiesel is a diesel that is produced from biomass, and Jatropha plant is there. So in Jatropha plant will obtain biodiesel. Biodiesel will obtain biodiesel from the plant that is named as Jatropha. Jatropha is a very common plant. From these fuels, from the biomass of that plant, will obtain biodiesel, and biodiesel will have to do some more modification, because raw we cannot use this biodiesel in engines or in a, in a in any vehicle, and it is also having a very lower gelling point that petrodiesel, and making it unsuitable for use in colder climate, and it should be always used in the blended with a petrodiesel. So biodiesel will obtain from fuels from the biomass of the plant called as Jatropha. Now next is about the define the word combustion. Combustion means basically, if we'll talk about the meaning of combustion, it means the burning. So it is the process of burning by which a fuel and oxidant react to produce heat and other compounds CO2 and H2O in an ideal hydrocarbon combustion. What is the flash point of a fuel? Means a flash point is there for a fuel. So what will happen? The lowest temperature at which flammable liquid produces enough vapor to ignite. For most of flammable liquids like gasoline, it is the vapor, not the liquid itself, that is combustible. This is called as flash point of a fuel. It is the lowest temperature at which a flammable liquid produces enough vapor to ignite. Means that will produce enough vapor that can be ignited. This is called as a flash point of a fuel. Means at the lowest temperature at which a flammable liquid produces enough vapor to ignite. And for most flammable liquids like gasoline, it is a vapor, not the liquid itself, that is combustible. Next terminology is define the term gasification. The conversion of carbonaceous solid into the carbon monoxide, carbon monoxide, hydrogen and carbon dioxide gases that usually take place at high temperature and in the presence of steam is called as gasification. Means the conversion of carbonaceous solid into the carbon monoxide, hydrogen and some CO2 gases, and it will take place at a high temperature and the presence of some steam is called as gasification. So this is about the all terminology definition related with the natural resource model number 2. Thank you for today's lecture.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.